Senior fellow at the Lexington Institute. Dr. Grant, are you surprised, first of all, that the Iranians even agreed to these talks?
Yes, and congratulations to
First
Steve
round of Iran
Witkoff.
nuclear
It has
talks
been
positive.
years since there were...
Hey, let me tell you this. I am from Iran originally, but I've never really been there since I was 3 years old. But I've been watching some videos on YouTube of travelers that has gone to Iran, and it is not what they have, what the media have told us it is. People are very chill. They have really nice architecture, quite modern actually. Looks really good, but they're completely sealed off from the rest of the world because of the sanctions and shit like that. Now, if the US and Iran could be on good terms, that would be pretty cool because that country is beautiful, man. Go and look some of the travelers on YouTube traveling to Iran. Like crazy architecture stuff. Trump is okay to a point. US government is ran by DOD, Pentagon, so he'll not be the shit caller. You mean he will not be the one who makes the calls?
Real direct talks, and the reason is pretty clear. As the White House has said, all the options are not only on the table, they're all deployed to the Middle East. Somewhere between 4 and 6 B-2 stealth bombers forward in Diego Garcia,
yeah, Trump
2 aircraft carriers. That has really gotten Iran's attention, and they know that Trump has a battle plan if he needs it. Iran either has to talk or get their nuclear facilities bombed.
Well, the president...
And I did hear, I don't know if
famously...
it's true, but I did hear rumors or something that Iran says, yeah, we can denuclearize, but our suggestion is that the whole Middle East denuclearizes. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's true, but if it is, I don't know, that doesn't sound bad, but you know, then that would mean that Israel has to denuclearize, and I don't think they'll do that. Hey, what's up, Darko? Have you been following all the shit that's been going on? Go look at Iran in the 70s under the Shah. Yeah. I mean, listen, go look at it now. Listen, from what I saw through those travelers that went to Iran on YouTube, that fucking country in the you know, in Tehran or whatever, looks way better than Sweden. I didn't think so. When I thought about Iran, I thought about mud buildings and, you know, people looking like they're in the 700s. You know what I mean? This asshole is threatening your homeland. Trump! Dude, Trump is... I mean, I'm 100% sure, but I am putting my bets on that Trump is a good guy. You know? They're white. They're white dressing like the West. Yeah, Iran is not a Muslim country, really. The people want to be free. Yeah, the mullahs did it. Yeah, and it got, you know, very nice different climates, like, you know, snowy mountains and then hot weather, like deserts and shit. If it could become normal, that country, that would be great.
Said many times during his first term that there were no new wars started while he was president, 45. Would he start one with Iran?
I think that he will carry out...
Hey, by the way, if one of you want to try the emojis, I have a cool effect that's supposed to be working. Like when you do an emoji, it should be on the screen. Try it out. Try one emoji out. USA is packed with nukes and has a nerve to ask someone to denuclearize. Well, yeah, but from their, stance, they are the good guys. They should have the nukes. Do you know what I mean? Now, you can debate if they are the good guys or not, especially during all these years under Bush and Obama and Biden. They weren't good guys. We'll see if they're good guys under Trump. Listen, if they're not good guys under Trump, then forget about it. Okay? Iran was even with Western culture. Yeah, and there were even women without the hijabs that I saw in the video. They don't care anymore. Okay, some places, like some malls, they have, like, in here you have to have the hijab, But it's not as I thought it was. USA are fucking bozos.
strikes if he has to, but clearly what he's hoping for, and it's working, is to get Iran to talk. You know, he tried really hard to do that during his first term. He and some of the G7 even offered immediate cash to Iran, but nothing would bring them to the table. And now they realize that what with the situation with what Israel has done to Hamas and Hezbollah, Iran being contained and hemmed in by U.S. forces as well, that now they really need to talk, or they risk more instability in Iran itself. And that seems to have been critical in getting the Iranian foreign minister to show up in Oman and actually start these talks, which will take a while, but they've started.
General Jack Keane, our Fox News military analyst, says that Iran has to believe that the president means business here. Listen.
Look, at our positions are about as far apart as they can be. The reasons why the Iranians are actually talking, because the supreme leader did not want to engage in any discussion whatsoever, is because I think they've come to the conclusion that the president is dead serious about supporting an Israeli-led, U.S.-supported strike on Iran to take down their nuclear enterprise if they don't.
Everybody knows Netanyahu. He's like crazy about a war with Iran. There was this video when Trump was talking with Netanyahu in the White House. Trump was saying, we're going to have talks on Saturday, this very talk. And we don't want war, and neither does Israel. And you can see Netanyahu's face. He was like, what are you saying, man? That's why the powers that be want to attack Iran. They keep us at one another's throats to divide. It's the leadership, not the people. Yeah, exactly.
Voluntarily dismantle it.
Interesting what he said there. An Israeli-led U.S.
You know, Iran, they can't even, the banks are cut off. The banks in Iran are cut off from the rest of the world. So it's very tricky to deal with, you know, money and shit when you're in that country. It's like, and their cash is like worthless.
On Iran. So clearly we're communicating with the Israelis about our intentions here.
Well, General Keane is absolutely right, and I think how it would unfold, you know, so they want Iran to know this. Remember, Israel took out a lot of Iran's air defenses last year. Then you have 2 carriers, U.S. land-based fighters in the region to continue to work the air defenses.
That's interesting because I've heard that Iran did something similar to Israel when they attacked. What they apparently did was they sent like 1,200 cheap-ass drones coming their way, made them, you know, expend all their ammunition on that shit. I don't know if that's true. Netanyahu goes to court when war is over, so he's trying to keep it going. Yeah, what happened to that? I heard something about that shit. That he was, you know, wanted for a trial or something, but that was like a year ago. Rothschild money. That's why they want to focus on Iran, huh?
Our forces, and then,
so that he
like
doesn't
I said,
get the
B-2
trial.
bombers and more available that are able to use massive ordnance penetrating weapons and get at those underground facilities. So that's the threat display. And remember, John, there's
but
no
hey,
reason
listen,
for
Iran and the U.S. was positive, as it says there. So who knows?
And to enrich their own uranium, they're within perhaps a week of enriching enough to have a bomb. They don't need it for nuclear power. They can buy it on the global market like everybody else. So it is time for them to start to make a deal. And I think maybe due to our military pressure and Trump's resolve, they're beginning to realize it. And I think the pieces are falling into place.
The former Secretary of State says the Iranians have to behave. Let's listen to Mike Pompeo.
Pompeo?
We have to fully...
Dude, what the fuck happened to this guy? If you remember this guy, he was fat like a pig, and now he looks like a different man.
Verifiably eliminate their nuclear weapons
But hey, listen, Trump doesn't like this guy, apparently.
program for there to be any agreement, and I see no evidence that the Iranians have any intention of doing that, and I see no intention that they are willing to stop behaving badly all across the world. All we ask is that they behave like a normal nation, and there is no indication they're prepared to do that.
So if they're not prepared to do that, Dr. Grant, it seems like explosions might be heard in Tehran or elsewhere.
Well, that's what Witkoff and others are going to have to figure out. I think there's a prospect of getting some agreement. It's going to have to include real inspections. It's going to have to include them giving up, frankly,
Real
some of that
inspections.
enriched uranium. They're not going to want to do that. And then there'll have to be
What,
some.
did they have fake inspections before? Sup, Rabbit? Iran is the last of the 7 countries in the 5 years. Oh, yeah, I've seen that, General Wesley Clark. When I saw that shit? I saw that shit when George Bush, the son, was president. That was the beginning of my conspiracy rabbit hole. I was like, fuck. George Bush. That's why he's attacking Iraq and Afghanistan and this and that. Because here General Clark says they're going to finish it off with Iran. That was like 2007 or some shit like that.
Limits on their ballistic missile development. But there's no question that the military situation in the Middle East has turned to the point where now Iran is at risk at home. Their president seems to understand that. That's why they went to negotiate. And I hope that we'll be able to really see some forward progress. But the pressure has to stay on. Iran is awfully tricky.
Yeah, it sounds like the mullahs are going to have a tough pill to swallow coming out of these negotiations. All right, Dr. Rebecca Grant, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, they're going to apparently hold talks again on Saturday.